Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Walter Scott and I'm an Adobe certified instructor for Premiere Pro. And this is the ultimate Premiere Pro shortcuts, tips and tricks video. Most ultimate that I can make, and ultimate makes a really good YouTube video title. I hope you'd agree. It's got to be in capitals though. If you do want, there's going to be lots of furious note taking probably. So I've made a PDF, okay, it's free to download. There'll be a link in the description if you want to grab that. Also, if you are either self-taught or new to Premiere Pro, there'll be a link to my course called Premiere Pro Essentials in the description. All right, let's get into the ultimate shortcuts, tips and tricks. I embarrass myself. Let's start with some easy ones to get going. The first one that I use the most is the backslash key. If you just tap it on your keyboard, okay, puts everything in the timeline in view. Okay, so you can see everything at once. The cool thing about it is you can zoom in. Say you are working very tight in here. Okay, if you tap /1, see the whole thing. Tap it again, goes back into that exact same kind of zoom level you were at. But I never do that. Basically, this is what I do. I trim stuff up because of this giant soundtrack, and then I hit backslash again. It just kind of fits it in appropriately. All right, it's a good start. Next one. All right, the next shortcut that I found the most exciting was the tilde key or the backtick key. I'm not even sure which one does it because sometimes I've got different keyboards. Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. You might have to hunt around and see if you can find it. On my Mac, it was up there, now it's down here. It will move. What does it do? It means wherever your mouse is, just tap it, okay, and it makes it full screen. Super handy when you've got like really complicated bins, okay, it's hard to search and look through them all. Just tap the tilde key, goes full screen, tap it again, goes back. So wherever your mouse is. Full screen timeline. You can even combine it with a backslash. Look at that. I made it big and made it fit in there. Nice. All right, that's the tilde/grave key. Some people call it the squiggle, okay, or it's backtick, but it looks like that. Next shortcut. Next one is holding down the shift key while you drag your playhead or CTI. Okay, it will, if you're holding down shift, snap to useful things. Okay, you can see the gaps here, see my audio track down the bottom here. For holding shift and dragging, it will snap to these. Gets even more useful if you have a track selected. Okay, and up here in my effects controls, I've got keyframes. Okay, if I need to adjust these keyframes, dragging this CTI, it will snap to the keyframes. Stop you making all those random duplicates that are right next to it, close, but not quite. Hold shift, drags to the front, to the keyframes, and to the end. Nice. This next shortcut is how to do a nice razor cut. Let's show us the before.
All limits are inside your head.
Guy does a sweet jump, but what I want to do is chop a few bits out. So I'm just going to make sure my track is selected and Command K on a Mac and Control K on a PC. Go to my next one, Command K. Next one, Command K on a Mac, Control K on a PC. I'll do one more, and then I'm going to magically delete some bits. And by magic, I mean just clicking them and deleting them. Another little shortcut is you can click the gaps and hit delete, and it just toggles everything in. Okay. So I'm just clicking it once, hitting delete on my keyboard. Not very shortcutty, you say. Let's undo those, get them back. Okay, and instead of just deleting them, is hold down the Option key on your keyboard. Okay, if you're a Mac, the Alt key on a PC. Okay, hold that down and hit the backspace key, generally in the top right next to the plus and minus. Okay, that will both delete it and ripple delete at the same time. Look at that. Not good enough, you say. Let's undo it. Still not good enough, you say. Let's say you've got footage and there's lots of gaps, hundreds of them for some strange unknown reason. Select all the ones you want to remove, go to Sequence, come down to Close Gap. Hey, you're crying a little, right? Because you've done this. We've all done it. All right, next trick. It gets better. How, you ask? The Ripple Edit tool. That tool that you should use more. You know it's there, but you never do. It's this one here, Ripple Edit. It's got a terrible shortcut, the B key. Okay, B for bad shortcut. That's how we'll remember it. Okay, we'll select it, and instead, watch, I can drag this along, and the gap that's going to open up gets closed automatically. It'll ripple delete it. You're like, I use that all the time. Don't tell me about a Ripple Edit tool. All right, how about this one? Let's go undo, and instead of any of these tools here, okay, so no tools selected. I've got this clip selected, and I just hit the Q key. Look at that, it did it all in one go. No Ripple Edit, no clicking and dragging. Undo, watch that again, get it anywhere you want, hit the Q key, and it just trims it up. You can do the other way around. If you get to the end here and you're like, oh, I want to just let's say this one here, I want to trim it up a little bit. It's selected, I hit the W key, which is right next to the Q key, which is handy. So it's called the Ripple Trim Tool. Some people call it topping and tailing. Just got to make sure the clip is selected. Q and W. Love those keys. Okay, not to be left out, Q and W have a buddy. His name is E. If you look down at your keyboard, there he is, just to the right of them. Okay, and his job is to do something called the Extend Edit to Playhead. So get your playhead where you want it to be, and you click on the end of it. Okay, it kind of goes red, and you hit E, and it will jump out to wherever your playhead is. It does not work if you have the clip selected, because it doesn't know what end. Okay, so you've got to really be very specific and click on the end. It could be either end. Okay, I can click on this one so it's red, and say E, and it will jump back to it. It also doesn't work, you can't click the ends if you have any of these other tools. You just need to be on your selection tool. It's the shortcut that I never use, to be honest, but I reckon it might make at least one person's day out there. Get to the right point, click the end, click E. Oh, good. Extend Edit to Playhead. Next shortcut. To continue on our timeline mastery, we're going to insert, let's put in some sheep. I'm from New Zealand, we love sheep. If you know nothing of New Zealand, you know Flight of the Conchords, Lord of the Rings, and there's more sheep than people. I wish it wasn't true, but it is. And what you do is you're like, okay, I'm going to put it in there. Okay, so I know it's that long, and I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to extend you out, and you slip it in. You're like, yay! Today gets better. I'm going to undo all of that jiggery, and we are going to, as we drag it in, hold down the Command key on a Mac, Control key on a PC. Ready, set, E. We can put it anywhere. Put it there. Oh, look at that. Just opened up a gap. No messing around with, source matching. Source patching, the mysterious V's on this side sent to confuse us all. There's another way of doing it. Okay, that way I use a lot. This way is pretty good as well. Let's say that this one's been on the cutting block. We want to get rid of it. Replace with sheep. So what we can do is click, hold, and drag. And if you drag it up to your program window, you get some awesome things like overlay. Okay, or replace. Look at that. Just replace that one. Same time, has the same animations or transitions. There's other ways of doing it, but that's just too easy. Let's have a quick look at the other ones. You can insert it before. Let's insert it afterwards. Look at that. 2 sheeps. We have millions of sheeps. But have a little look. Okay, there'd be one of these things that you're doing all the time, and it's just nicer often just to look in here and do it. Overlay. Look at that, over the top. I didn't have to do any more of that mysterious source patching. If we're all honest, nobody really knows how it works or why these should be different. Anyway, next shortcut. I lied one last little thing to show you. It's really good for big stacks of images. These are just a whole bunch of images. There's always some reshuffling to be done. In this case, I got too many sheep together, so I want you to be down here. And I can just drag it, and it does an insert edit and kind of overrides that one. Or I can use my fancy new trick, hold down the Command key on a Mac, Control key on a PC, and it kind of pushes along, but lift the gap here. That's all right, I can get rid of that. Delete. Oh, there's a way of doing it all in one go. So just like before, drag it along, Command on a Mac, Control on a PC, but also on a Mac, hold down your Option key. So Command and Option. On a PC, it is Control and Alt. Man, it's hard to do in my head at the moment. You can see them on the screen. Look at that. Does a little switcheroony. Puts that over there, gets rid of the gap, everything shuffles along. I can make this one go backwards. So remember, Command Option on a Mac, Control Alt on a PC, and it kind of shuffles that one over here and everything tidies up nicely. All right, now another shortcut, or at least another range of shortcuts. Let's talk about importing. Okay, so you might not know, you might know, you can just double click in your project window, anywhere in here that doesn't have words. Okay, double click and say I'm going to bring in all of these guys. You don't have to go file import or any sort of shortcut. Okay, I can import more, just double click the non have things in area. You can go a bit faster. Okay, undo that. You can actually just drag it straight up from your Finder window. Okay, either Mac or PC. Okay, just drag it. Let's grab both MP4s. Drag it straight to here. As long as you have to kind of rearrange things so you can see it. But check it out. It creates a sequence and puts both of them in there. It's a great easy way to get started. Another couple of good hotkeys is look down at your keyboard. J, K, and L. That's what I rest my fingers on pretty much constantly when I'm editing. Okay, so L is going forwards.
Hi there.
It's
Let's
playing.
talk about
okay, K is stop. But the cool thing about it is if you tap L twice, play
thing
once,
that we're making,
play at double speed.
So first up,
I do a lot of my
making
editing, or at least checking, of myself talking using that speed. I don't mind that I sound like a chipmunk, but it's way better than listening to myself talk. Like that, you can tap it 3 times, 1, 2, 3. A little bit hard to understand, okay, but if you're just trying to kind of listen through something real quick, it's a good way to speed things up. J is backwards. I use it surprisingly a lot. You can hit J a couple times backwards. Okay, just to kind of get the playhead where you need to. Useful if you are kind of jumping around like that. L, go forwards. K to stop. If you need to go forward 1 frame, because you need to find like something that is, say, you're just scrubbing along and you find a bad picture. All of my like freeze frames. There you go. That's a bad one. You're just trying to find something where I don't look as like that. Okay, your left and right arrows. So remember, I've got my playhead down, selected down here, got the blue arrow. Just hit left once. Okay, right once. Just frame, I can kind of go back a couple of frames until, there we go. Way more handsome. Hey there, how is the video going? Learned some new stuff, I hope. If you did, give me a like, consider subscribing to the channel now, give it a pause and go do that. Also, if you want to take Premiere Pro a little bit further, you might want to check out my full course. There'll be a link in the description for that. Plus, I've got lots of other Adobe related courses as well. All right. Back to the tips and tricks. Okay, so just tap them along. It's really helpful as well, because weirdly in Premiere Pro, if you hold your shift key and snap to the end, okay, it snaps to the next one, never this one. So you can go back one. That's what I do a lot. So dragging along, holding shift, snaps there, it goes, no, go back one. Go back to this clip, watch, back 1 arrow. Look at that. If you hold down shift and do it, it jumps in sessions of 5. Okay, so I'm just tapping my left arrow, holding shift key, and it goes into like bigger chunks because you might find that useful sometimes. Same with forwards, hold shift, goes in lots of 5 frames. There we go, nailed it. Okay, so I'm going to reuse one of my early shortcuts. I want to delete it. Do you remember? I want to ripple delete it. That's right, hold down your Option key on a Mac and hit backspace, okay, or Alt key on a PC. Now, listening to this one, I've got terrible audio. Hi, my name is Dan. Sounds like I'm recording in my toilet. Clearly not, but it does sound like that. So I'm going to add some better audio that I've recorded off camera. I'm going to hit my backslash key because I want it to be full screen, and we're going to unlink it. Okay, you right click it, you go to unlink, and then you delete one of them. You've done that before, right? But you can just hold down your Option key on a Mac, Alt key on a PC, and click off, click 1. So I have nothing selected. Hold down Alt on a PC, Option on a Mac, and you can just click one of them. Hit delete. Another weird thing you can do with it is, with both of them selected, is you can hold down the Option key on a Mac, Alt key on a PC, and just drag one of them. So you might just don't want the audio at the end there where you're kind of like doing stuff, but you want the visual still. They're still kind of linked. Okay, it's weird. I've used it once or twice. But at the moment, nothing selected. Hold down my Option key on a Mac, Alt key on a PC, and delete it. One of the way you might do that is, I'm going to delete all of this, is I'm going to open it up in my source monitor, and you might go, bring it in, brings in both. But if you drag just one of these icons, if I drag just the video, I can drag it to one of my V1 tracks, get the kind of the same result. If you just want the audio from it, just drag the little audio icon down to one of the audio tracks. All right, I want it so this guy is gone. Let's bring in our better audio, not amazing. I'm going to bring in my MP3. I'm going to drag it on. The next shortcut I want to show you is we've used the left and right just to go forward 1 frame, back 1 frame. The up arrow and the down arrow will jump to the next significant thing that's happening in your timeline. Okay, and in our case, if I go up 1, it's jumping to the beginning of the MP3, and go up 1 again, beginning of this. It's a really handy way to kind of like start scrolling through all of your work. Up arrow, down arrow. And like before, I can go back 1 frame, weirdly. So Premiere Pro loves to get to the end, but go past where it needs to go back 1 frame. We're back where we want to be. If this doesn't work for you, say you've got something else on this other layer, which one do I want? That's the sequence. Let's put that on there. Okay, and you're like, I'm jumping up and down. Okay, but let's say it's skipping. I'm going to make it do it. Watch this. It's not going to find this Dreamweaver one. Watch, I go down and go, what? Why aren't you jumping to this one? Works on some of them, but not others. You kind of know, I already gave it away. It's any of these. Okay, so this is your track targeting. Okay, kind of like source matching, except it's not the same. just make sure they're all on. That's generally a good rule. Okay, does most of what you want. All right, up and down arrow. Okay, next one is, I'm not sure if I've even said this one already. Selection follows playhead. I think I did. Okay, it just means it's going to kind of jump to whatever's the playhead is above. That can be useful, but just know you can turn it off if you're like, actually just don't select anything when it's moving around. I'm going to have mine off for the second. I'm going to have mine off for the moment. Next one is nudging. Okay, so we've done back and forward, goes forward 1 frame, back 1 frame. So left arrow, right arrow. But if I hold down my Command key on a Mac or Control key on a PC and use the same ones, watch what happens to the footage down here. Left, right. I'll zoom in so you can see it. Okay, plus, plus, plus. Okay, with this selected, I'm going to go Command on a Mac, Control on a PC, left one, right one. Just kind of nudges it along. And you're like, when would you ever use that? it is just helpful sometimes because sometimes the playhead kind of likes to jump to things. And in our case, it's going to work really well. I'm going to zoom out. Okay, I want to grab this. And I can't even remember which one it is, but this is the good voiceover. Okay, I think it's this one. And what you want to do is you're doing some manual aligning, right? You're trying to see when he starts talking. That's me. Okay, and I come in there and you're trying to line this things up, right? There I am. Hi. Okay.
Hi, my name is Dan.
It's not quite right. But you can zoom in, okay, and then you can use your nudge to kind of try and line the peaks of this. Okay, you can see the peaks a little bit easier by dragging this down. Okay, find where I started taking high, and I bet you this has got to go left. So I'm holding my command key down on my Mac, control key on a PC, and just nudging it along. There'll be things you need to line up: logos, brands, different waveforms, sound effects.
Hi, my name is Dan, and I love...
It's not the right one, but you get the idea. If you are still doing this manually, there's times where you do need to. Okay, let me show you the quick way. So I'm going to delete both of these because I have got both the bad audio. Remember this?
My name is Dan, and
the old toilet audio. Okay, and then I've got the good stuff. I'm going to put you over there, anywhere really. I'm going to select them both, right-click any one of them, and say sync. Where are you? Synchronize. There it is. It's grayed out. Why is it grayed out? I think it's on the same track. These guys need to be on different tracks. Select them both, right-click. Now I can synchronize. Okay, and it's going to say, what would you like to do? Let's synchronize the audio because I've got the bad audio and the good audio, and hopefully it'll do some Premiere Pro magic. Backslash. Look at that. It found the right one. We were close. Okay, there it is there. Let's have a listen.
Hi, my name is Dan.
Okay, it's got both audio tracks going, and I mute the bad one.
And I love animating infographics.
There you go. It's lined it up automatically. So just make sure you're recording on the bad audio on your camera and your good audio on something else so that it can match it up. Way easier than the manual way. So let's do a few tricks. Let's get our playhead kind of jazzed before I start talking. And do you remember the ripple edit? Okay, it was Q. Kind of trimmed it off, got rid of that. I don't need all this stuff. I can click this gap here, goes all the way to the beginning, find the end.
Boring data to life using After Effects.
Spacebar. What's the ripple out? Remember? W. There's a little bit left here. You're gone. I want to unlink these without using the right-click unlink option. Because unlink is there and it's not hard, but man, this is big. And you're like, unlink, unlink. Oh, here it is every single time. Maybe just me. But remember, if you hold down the Option key on a Mac, Alt key on a PC, click it once, delete it. Let's move him up. We don't have to group them, but it feels good. Let's right-click it, search through it, find group. Unmute this, and you'll notice over here, it's not quite loud enough. A really super easy shortcut for all dialogue. Man, this is good. With it selected, make sure the audio bit's selected, go to your window, find Essential Sound. Okay, grab it. Essential Sound, click I am dialogue. I need to be... If this is closed, open up loudness, click auto match. Watch what happens.
I'm bringing potentially boring data
Look
to
at
life.
it. Minus, because it's bouncing around in the right areas now.
I love animating infographics.
Okay, the audio is not amazing, but it's better than the camera stuff. Too good. I want to go through lots of other cool stuff in here, but you have to check out my Essentials, Premiere Pro Essentials course for that, bit of advanced as well, because man, this video is getting already pretty long. Let's get on to the next shortcut. Next, let's do a little bit of tidying up. I'm not sure about you, but this thing is, it's messy. Man, it's messy, especially when you're new, even when you're experienced. Okay, so first of all, backslash. Look at that, fills it up. The other one is there's this random area. If you can't see it, it's as small as it can get. You've got this like random important area here. You're like, it doesn't look very important, but you can right click in here. So right click in any of these V1s, probably works in A1 as well. Right click and go to this one that says delete tracks, plural, just the plural one. Okay, and you can say, actually, I would like you to go and delete any video and audio tracks, all that are empty. And watch this. Already watching messy, messy, messy. Nice, just a clean track. Okay, you might have 2 video tracks, but you can be a little bit nicer. I can make this a little bit smaller. So good. Another thing you can do is you've kind of expanded these out, and some of them are big and some of them are small and they're all over the place. You just want to go, actually, all you guys, can you just minimize and just be small? Look at that. Likewise, you can go in here and say, actually, everyone be expanded. Just so you don't have to go and do this whole fun game of like, have I got the right one? Is this the right one? Okay. There is a shortcut for it as well. Hold down the Shift key and hit minus to make them small. Okay, and plus to make them big. Cool, Hold Shift, plus, minus. You have to actually have a blue line running in here, so click anywhere in this, plus, minus, holding shift. Nice. The next one's not even really a shortcut, but it's my gift to you, especially if you don't use Premiere Pro very often. And you end up with things like this, and you're like, oh, what is all this gray stuff, and where did it come from? It's probably because you hit your X key or your / key instead of your / key, and you're like, you've ignored it for ages and it works fine. Just right click in this gray area and go to clear your in and out points. You can use in and out points for good, but most of the time people accidentally put them in and you just live with it. Right click, clear in and out. Next thing I want to show you is the hidden buttons. In your program monitor, okay, there's this little plus button down the bottom. Click on it. There's a bunch of stuff that you might use. Okay, much of stuff you won't use. Okay, I only used 1 or 2 things out of here. Probably the most useful is this loop playback. To use it, it's kind of weird. You kind of hold it and drag it and dump it into there, anywhere you want. Okay, click OK. And now we can loop our playback. Why that's good is, let's say that I am trying to do the timing for this. Okay, I want to sit back and kind of get a feel for it. Instead of having to go all the way back to the beginning, you drag the playhead inside your head. Okay, you've done that a million times. You can set an in point, which is I on my keyboard, and then put an out point, which is an O. Then turn that on, hit play, kick back. I am actually kicking back. Just watching, just to get a feel for the timing. Okay. And who remembers how to get rid of this frustrating gray stuff? You remember, right click it, clear in and out. Okay, then it will just actually play the whole thing over. Okay, it'll get to the end. My end actually is a bit there. You get to the end, watch. Go back to the beginning.
When I first started doing...
Cool, eh? Have a little dig through there. There'll be stuff that you use. If you're a multicam person, that's quite useful in there. Toggling proxies if you're hardcore. I'm going to do that. Turn it off. Next shortcut, please. Let's look at adding a transition. Okay, so if I want to add a default transition, okay, which is by default cross dissolve, okay, I need my cursor, my playhead between 2 bits of footage, okay, and it's not going to work. Command D on a Mac, Control D on a PC, you got to have nothing selected, then do the exact same shortcut, okay, and that'll apply your cross dissolve. You can do it from all, select them all, okay, and hit Command D, or okay, you just can't have one selected. You can have 2 of them selected. Watch this. U2, Command D. Now there is a shortcut for the default transition for audio. Constant gain, I think it is. Okay, so again, between the 2, and you just hold Shift, Command D. So that's Shift, Control D on a PC. That'll do your default audio transition.
Today.
You can do them all in one go. Okay, select them all and go a weird one, just Shift and D by itself. Nothing, no other keys. Same for both Mac and PC. Really good if you are banging out lots of the same thing, okay, with all the same sort of transitions. If cross dissolve isn't your thing, or constant power, okay, you can go and change your presets under your effects panel. Okay, find your video transitions, find the one you want. Let's say I'm going to be the dip to black. Just right click it and say you are now my default transition. Select all these guys, Command D. Now we've got dip to blacks between them all. One thing I want to show you is this. It's another less of a shortcut and more of a saving your sanity. Like, why is this transition, this one's in the middle, and this one's not, and oh man, I wish, kind of just, why won't it go in the middle? You can force it, okay, you can go, make sure it's selected, go to your effects controls, so we've got the transition selected. We can say, no, don't start a cut. I want you to start at the center. I'm going to force you to. It kind of freaks out a little bit, but it works perfect, especially with a dip to black at least. Watch this. Nice. Symmetrical. The little shaded line says I can't really do it, but I'm trying to do my best. Works kind of okay with a cross dissolve, not as well. Okay, with a cross dissolve, there's the same kind of thing. You just force it to it by selecting it. Okay, but you watch, it'll just pause her until it kind of starts going. She's kind of paused for all this time and then launches into life. But who's going to know? You might. All right, that is transition shortcut goodness. Next one is the scroll wheel on your mouse. Not everyone has one, but if you do, it's that thing in the middle there. Okay, by default, it does something really kind of weird. Okay, it just moves up and down if you've got a few tracks. But if you hold down the Shift key, that's really good. Okay, it goes back and forth, kind of scrubs the timeline instead of dragging this ridiculous thing. Okay, so hold Shift to scroll your wheel up and down. You can hold down the Option key on a Mac, the Alt key on a PC, and it zooms in. That's a real good one. Okay, and it's wherever your playhead is, your mouse. So it doesn't really matter where that is. You can just go, I want to zoom into this bit. Make sure you're zooming in. Okay, so wherever your mouse is pointed, it will zoom. That will work with pinching and zooming on a trackpad. It does at least on my MacBook Pro. This next shortcut is probably one of my most favorites. I'm not sure why I left it this late in the video, but if you're still around, it's like a prize. Okay, so I'm working on this wedding and wedding footage. There's so much of it. Let me show you. So I've gone full screen. That's, remember, tilde or the uptick. That's not the shortcut. Okay, but I just wanted to show you all this. Look, there's just lots going on, right? And what I want to do is actually give you a little bonus shortcut. If you want to close all these down at one go, hold down the Option key on a Mac, Alt key on a PC, and just click on one of them. They all, look, they all get collapsed if you've got a big mess of bins open. That is also not the shortcut. So I'm going to come back out of that. What I want to do is, I have no idea which bin this footage is, what it's called, what the in and out points are. So with it selected, okay, tap your F key on your keyboard. Okay, and it takes you to the source monitor, takes you to the in and out points, tells you the name, what codes you got, what in points, what out points. Just a real helpful one. If you're like, where is that one kept? F shows you where it is. There's in and out points. I can make adjustments, grab it, know that I've used it already. That's the F key. It's called match frame. Okay, this is like an impromptu tip / shortcut because I was opening something and I was missing some footage. You've all done it and you're like, okay, cool. And you're like, I can locate it. And you spend ages just hacking around. This thing's a weird window. Just to make things easier, if you kind of vaguely know where it is, I know that it's not on my desktop. I know it's in this Dropbox folder somewhere. Just click display, tick this on. It's not normally on. And just click search and kick back and it will find the exact word. As long as you haven't changed the name, it makes things life and easy. You can see there was 3 other graphics that it needed, but because they're all kind of in the same boat, or at least the same location, just link them all. Great if you have to kind of move things off to different documents or hard drives. Anyway, that's an extra little tip. Let's talk about time codes and markers. Let's say you're doing an Instagram thing here, okay, and you're like, how long can this be? Okay, you know that it has to be, you've checked, okay, your Instagram story video is 15 seconds, type in 00 for the frames, okay, hit enter, jumps out, hit M for your marker, you know, that's how long it needs to be. So everything here needs to, select all of this, come out to this. There we go, little visual reference. Okay, another cool thing with your timeline is forget Instagram stories and let's just say I get to the end here and I need it to be another 10 seconds. What you can do is click, instead of doing math, okay, which I'm terrible at, I can just say plus 10 seconds and 0 frames, hit enter, and it jumps out. M for a marker. You can even minus. Not that I've ever done that, but you can. You just type over the top. Let's go minus 1 second, 0 frames, enter. Look at that, jumping around. All right, next shortcut, I'm playing this and I want to get a full screen look at it. Okay, instead of watching it in the program window. Remember, we can hit that tilde / grave key / squiggly backtick thing we've used to kind of make it bigger. Okay, but we can also make sure your mouse is over the top of it and hold Control first, both Mac and PC, and then hit the key. And it goes full screen. Okay, then we get to watch it. You have to use spacebar because you've got no controls to turn it off, turn it back on. Okay, and when you're finished, hit escape and it jumps back in. That's cinema mode. Hold down Control and then hit that crazy key that's somewhere on your keyboard. Okay, so we've done the marker thing and I should have edited it in then, but let's say I get to here, I'm like, yeah, definitely need a marker right here. So I've got nothing selected, hit my marker so it ends up here. And a cool little trick is you can hold down the Option key on a Mac, Alt key on a PC and click it once and it turns into this strange looking thing. You're like, what is that? I can drag out one side. Look at that, I can kind of like use a marker for like an area. I can say, actually, I want all of this to be a marker. You can make it even better by double clicking it and say, needs new quote. Okay, you might be adding notes for a colleague or just a reminder for yourself. Starts life as a regular marker, but if you hit Alt on a PC or Option on a Mac, okay, you can click it and it turns into that little stretchy guy. Nice. Okay, next handy shortcut, I do this surprisingly a lot, is I've got some video and I just want to check it for a couple of things. I want to see what it is. Okay, you can drag it into Premiere Pro without actually opening it. You need to be able to see your source monitor. Okay, and if you just drag it directly from your Finder or your window, okay, straight into the source monitor, it does a cool thing. It means I get to play it and kind of look at it, but it's not imported into my project because this actually has nothing to do with this project. I just wanted to see what the file was. I can check some stuff about it. I can do the things you normally can do in the source monitor. There's no audio. It plays just fine. I know what it is. I can then add it. Okay, and it will be brought into my project window. But at the moment, it's just like this temporary thing. I do it quite a lot when I record my own headshot stuff. Okay, and I just want to check the audio and video levels, make sure it's all in focus without actually creating a project and sticking in. I just drag it into the source monitor. If you go and open up something else in your source monitor, let's open something else. Okay, it's gone. It's just like it was never there. The next one is you hold down the shift key, right? Hold it down on your keyboard, and then you can hit the numbers. It can't be, not the number keypad if you've got it, the ones that are just above all the letters. Okay, and it just kind of toggles through all the different panels. Now, there's no real reason to go from the program window down to the timeline, so hold shift 3, kind of jumps down there. What is really helpful is if this whole thing where you've got project and there's effects controls and they're all kind of small and squished and they're down here and you can't get to them. It's handy to know that if I go shift 1, I go to my project panel. And if I go to shift 2, go to my source panel. So I use 1, 2, 5, and 7. Those are the kind of ones that I end up toggling between because they're all a bit strange. So hold shift down, toggle those top ones. There are other ones. And you might be like, how do you remember those ones? To be honest, I only remember those ones because I got this fancy keyboard, which I'll show you now, I guess. All right, this is my setup. I plugged a keyboard into my laptop and a monitor into my laptop. You got it. Okay, so this is the keyboard here. Let me zoom in. Wrong way. Honest, that was another project. Anyway, this is the keyboard. And you just plug it in, and there's a Mac and a PC version of this. It is from a website called Editor Keys. If you go to bringyourownlaptop.com/keyboard, it'll take you there. It's an affiliate link that I've got with them, but you can go directly to them if you would rather. Okay, they give me a small commission on sales. Yeah, it's a cool keyboard. Now, who is it good for? It's good for people that are brand new, okay, that are only just getting started in Premiere Pro, and it's just for, like, I'm finding it now, I'm not using it as much anymore. I've just got to a point now where, I'm using Premiere Pro enough and I know the shortcuts well enough that I don't actually check the keyboard shortcuts anymore. But it was super handy for me to get from kind of like moderate to advanced, at least in terms of shortcuts, because it's just like when you're waiting for things to render or your poor machine to catch up, you kind of just looking at your keyboard and you're like, oh, look at that, match frame tool. That makes sense. You kind of know you know what it does, but you just don't know what the shortcut is off by heart. They've kind of grouped all these things into cool colors as well. Kind of in and out points you can see we've talked about. Like the dumb ripple edit is B. Okay. But yeah, up to you. Now I got this corded version. Okay, I got that one, not that one there. I wish I did. I went and just bought my own version before I had any sort of kind of relationship with Editor Keys, at least in terms of affiliates. And I cheaped. I wish I didn't, because Mark Brown, I think it's this guy that runs it. He, there's Premiere Pro options. There's all sorts of different video editing options, but I went for this one. Actually, no, I went for the corded version. Oh, it's not even on there anymore. Oh yeah, there's a wide and wireless. I wish I went for wireless, and then B, I wish I went for the backlit pretty version. Okay, or anything but the cheapest one that I got. You can get covers, okay, for different Macs, not for all of them. Like they do a few for Surface and some MacBooks, but not all of them. It's up to you, kind of what you're using. Obviously, it's cheaper just to get a skin. But anyway, it was really cool. They do some other cool stuff as well. They do it for Photoshop and Illustrator. But yeah, how many keyboards do you need? It really depends. If you're going to be doing a little bit of Premiere Pro every now and again, then the keyboard's probably not right for you. But if you are serious about it or doing some regular work in Premiere Pro, whip out the old keyboard, save a few minutes every day. It all adds up. All right, I hope that was ultimate enough. If you felt like it was ultimate or close to ultimate, give it a like. If you want to see other ultimate shortcuts for other Adobe programs, subscribe to the channel. Also, if you self-taught Premiere Pro or new to it, check out my Premiere Pro Essentials course. There's also an advanced course for those people who are a little bit more advanced. So check out links in the description for those. Don't forget there's a PDF you can download. Okay, that's free. There'll be a link to that. It'll cover all the shortcuts that we've done in this video in a nice printable format. And that is it. I start waving, we start fading out. Ooh. Social media stuff so that the editors, Jason and Taylor, don't freak out. Maybe check us out over there as well. All right, proper finish fade out now.